to get in the flip on Combot. We're going to go all the way.
弹射，这次弹都不会把车好像被 KO 了。
Oh my God! That's gonna hurt. Grab the milk, Jenny.
Welcome to the Combot Collective.
Hello everybody and welcome to another news episode of the Combot Collective here, bringing you everything you want to know about the world of robot combat, from the BattleBots scene to the live circuit, from the heavyweight class to the fleaweight class. And we're back talking about heavyweights today, as announced on May 19th on the Extreme Robots YouTube and Facebook show ReActivate. The man in charge of everything there, Glenn Joseph Robinson, announced the robot teams which will be seen at Extreme Robots in Portsmouth and likely for all these other events going on later in the year. Of course, in a prior ReActivate episode we saw earlier in the year, Glenn would announce these three teams, being Team Divinity, led by Craig Callias, Team Inferno, led by Michael Oates, and of course Team Quake, led by Will Thomas. These three teams will be fighting to get points through their crew throughout these 5 Extreme Robots events this year, with 2 points going to a win, 1 point going to a draw, and 0 points going to a loss. At the end of the season, the winning captain will get 5,000 quid, and if I'm correct, they will be in charge of how that money will be distributed to the rest of the team. And now as we go down the list of teams here, we start with Craig Callias' Team Divinity, anchored of course by arguably the best heavyweight twackbot in the world, Gabriel, but also here with Zadkiel, the team's new big wheeled spinner that the Combot Collective managed to reveal some info on earlier this year. But talking about other robots on this team, we have Vanguard, headed by Jack Tweedy and friend of the Combot Collective, Zach. This robot is a spiritual sequel to Vanquish and has tried applying for BattleBot seasons in the past without much luck, so this will actually be their combat debut here with Vanguard. Going on some of the spinners here, we have Worm Gear 2, which looks very much similar weapon and body shape wise to the Worm Gear we saw in 2018 and 2019. But if the internal upgrades are solid here, this could be a real contender. But talking about real contenders, we also have Ellisware's Magnetar, and arguably, in my opinion, the powerhouse of this team. This is a robot that we have seen beat Aftershock, a robot synonymous with Extreme Robots at Extreme Robots events. This could be the best spinner we have in this entire competition, but we cap this team off here with a pair of traditional veteran lifters in Mega Mouse and Weird Malice, 2 robots that have been around since the classic Robot Wars days. Their teams, I should say, and they'll be there to fill in the rest of this little crew. My overall thoughts for this team is it looks like this is the middle ground team, I think, out of the 3 teams we have here. Obviously, we have some big hitters here. We know that robots like Gabriel, Magnetar, and maybe even Vanguard will be able to pull off some wins. But really, there's a lot of intangibles in this group, a lot of robots that have a lot of big question marks behind them. We don't know how well Vanguard's going to push. We don't know if it's going to be a good pit dropper. This new Worm Gear might have good power. It might be middling power like the original Worm Gear. And Zadkiel is probably the biggest question mark I have out of every robot on all 3 of these teams. I am so excited for the idea of a big Billy-style heavyweight with the big wheels and the big undercutter. Hitting parts of these pyramid-style Brit flippers, this could do some real damage here, but it's going to take a lot of things going right, in my opinion, for this team to be able to take the $5,000 at the end of the year, but it's not impossible. Like I said, out of these 3 teams, I'd put them in the middle of this little tier ranking of these 3 groups. As we now move on to Team Inferno. And of course, talking about Team Inferno, this is headed by Michael Oates and Team Invade, alongside his pair of deadly flippers, Eruption and Ignition. But according to Glenn Joseph Robinson, Michael Oates and the rest of Team Invade won't actually be at the Portsmouth Extreme Robots event, so this may give a couple of these other teams a fair shot to get some points during this first stop. Instead, the captaining role will be going to our fan favorite here in 2-headed Death Flamingo, a robot that placed top 3 at Robots Live Crawley back in October. This robot could turn up some heads. We saw that they have made some upgrades since the Crawley event on the builder vlog. But on top of the Flamingo, we have some of the most serious spinners in this competition here, with not 1 but 2 robots that were supposed to be at BattleBots 2021 getting to compete here instead. First, talking about a robot that is an Extreme Robots regular and the BattleBots 2018 quarterfinalist, Monsoon. They are part of Team Inferno, which is a little bit ironic, but I digress. A robot that's joining Monsoon, though, is the Dutch Destroyer here. These guys have built robots like Tough as Nails, Reality, Gravity, but this is the Netherlands' own Ominous, finally making its robot combat debut after 2 years of BattleBots hype. And lastly, this team also features a pair of underdog flipper/lifter robots, as we have the live scene regular Thunderchild as part of Team Inferno, but we also have a brand new robot in Troublemaker. This robot looks very similar to Rusty from Robot Wars Series 9, or even if you want to go back, Saros 2 in the early live event days. Interested if it's the same robot? I guess we're going to have to see how it performs. With robots like Eruption, Ignition, Monsoon, and Ominous all a part of this team is absolutely insane. I don't know if they're going to hop right out of the gate with Michael Oates being absent from the Extreme Robots Portsmouth event. You know, I think that two-headed Death Flamingo, Monsoon, and Ominous especially, they're going to carry this team, and they're going to get Team Inferno some points here at this first stop. Overall, though, you'd have to imagine Eruption and Ignition, all of Team of A, they're going to be at the rest of these Extreme Robots events, and Eruption is one of the few undefeated robots that have more than 3 wins, still on our TCC overall rankings. It's probably not going to take long for Eruption to make it into our TCC top 10 with that. Talking about the team here, this has to be the team winning the 5,000. I look at this team and I mean, like I was talking about with Team Divinity, if they have a really good run and all these new experimental robots work the way they're supposed to, then they'll definitely have a shot. But for my money, this is all Team Inferno, especially when you look at this last team. As lastly, Will Thomas and Team Shock are here with the fittingly named Team Quake, and his team is in fact most of Team Quake, as this is a 5-robot group headed by Aftershock, a robot synonymous with extreme robots and maybe the most destructive force in this entire show, but also alongside the flippers of the team, Manta and Tectonic, with the former of which having kind of a struggling performance at the last Robots Live event. Manta's flipper was not firing on all cylinders. Plenty of months to fix it though, so we're just gonna have to see how that goes. But talking about the other 2 robots on Team Quake here, besides the shock bots, we do start here with a robot that we've seen Extreme Robots promoting quite a bit in the build-up of this event. Talking about Team Ballistics, Donald Thump making robot combat great again here. We do know that this is a completely new build. Donald Thump in the past has had some reliability issues and drive issues, even in Extreme Robots. But we could see some serious change here. I think we might see a big contender in Donald Thump if they get everything going here. But talking about the last robot on this team, we have Team Panoramics Tango, a robot that we thought was going to be retiring after Robots Live Crawley. Looks like they're back in the ranks here, a 4-wheel drive wedge bot with one of the best paint jobs in all the heavyweight class, in my opinion. But oh boy, this team. I'm going to get on about the number of the robots in each team here in a moment, but I look at Team Quake here and I'm like, oh geez, I don't know about this team. You know, Aftershock's an amazing robot, and Manta's an amazing robot if it works. We've seen Manta win plenty of live events. We've seen Aftershock dominate plenty of spinner competitions in Extreme Robots, but the spinners have cranked themselves up since the early days, you know. Aftershock isn't fighting robots like Stripper or Ripper or Thrasher anymore, or none of the Beast Team robots or any of those. This is some proper spinner competition here with machines like Zadkiel and Monsoon and Ominous and Magnetar. There's some crazy machines in this competition. Aftershock's really going to have to keep up here. And for these other robots like Tectonic, Manta, Donald Thump, these are robots that we've seen show serious gremlins in the past 2 years. They're going to have exemplary events if they're going to have any shot of winning the overall championship here. I'm very confused though as to why this group only has 5 robots. It seems like maybe a bit of an oversight. Maybe they're trying to factor in the fact that Team Eruption won't be with Team Inferno. We're just gonna have to see. As for some final thoughts, I will say now that we have the team set, like I was just saying, I do worry a lot about the structure of these 3 squads throughout this entire season, with it being likely to other robots like King Buxton, Behemoth, Thrasher, Beast, or even Nelly the Ellibot joining later events. Where are these robots going to go? Are they going to get team announcements? Do teams get a pick? They just going to get thrown onto a team? Will they be hopping teams? There's a lot of questions I have there. We also have the unpredictability of what robots might not show up to later events. Like, what if Team Shock can't make it to one event and they have 2 robots on their team? It's all Tango and Donald Thump. That won't be good. While I'm sure there are some contingency plans for events like this, these kind of quandaries, there is another question I have up in the air, and that is the whereabouts of Team Roaming Robots themselves. It was announced by Glenn Robinson that there would be a 4-robot championship bracket for the beautiful new Extreme Robots title. This bracket features 2 Team Divinity robots, 1 Team Quake robot, and Ripper is just sort of there. Ripper is not placed on any team, and sure, that might have something to do with the fact that they are kind of in charge of the whole Extreme Robots thing. They have been the organizers of Roaming Robots, Robot Wars Live, Extreme Robots, whatever name it ran by. They have been behind it for pushing, actually, in fact, well over 20 years now. So it would not be surprising to see Extreme Robots do kind of what Robots Live does with Vulcan and Apollo, but it looks like they're competing in this main competition here. But I wouldn't have mind seeing a fourth team to make it all a little bit even. Maybe something like a Team Extreme, which could have been robots like Ripper, Stripper, Gripper, Galactus, and maybe some other robots. Maybe pull one robot from Team Divinity, maybe pull one from Team Inferno to even all these crews out. But now the groups are set, so I guess we're just going to have to see where these yellow and green machines are going to end up being placed throughout the Extreme Robots calendar year. That's all the news for Extreme Robots right now. When I'm uploading this video, the robot fighting for Portsmouth will already be going on, so that's really exciting. We're going to be breaking down everything that happens at Extreme Robots Portsmouth later on during the June month, so keep an eye out for that. This has been the Combot Collective, though. We'll be talking more and more about Extreme Robots throughout this entire calendar year. I hope you enjoyed what you were watching. You can find me on Instagram at SterlingTXTG and in future projects. And if you're enjoying what you're seeing at the Combot Collective, please find us on Instagram and Facebook. Please subscribe to our YouTube, leave a like and comment. We are enjoying everything that you're giving us here, and the Robot Combat season is still going on, even if BattleBots is over. We have amazing stuff happening in Norwalk and Extreme Robots and Robots Live. There's robot fighting all around the world, and we're here for it, and we will see you next time.
This was the Combot Collective. Find us on Instagram and Discord.